Hello my fellow pilots and welcome again to another episode of Star Citizen FM. My name is Dr. Hawk. What? My name is Dr. Hawk. My name is Dr. Hawk. Seriously? We're gonna do this. Fucking birds. In this week in review, we had an appearance of Eric taking it all off for the camera. Don't ever do this again, please. My eyes were scarred. Chris Roberts was in town to discuss further things with the team. What was discussed is not yet known or common knowledge. All we can assume is that this is information that is important and imperative to the game, and they are working hard to ensure that everything that Chris Roberts wants to see in Star Citizen will get implemented and wow us. Dan Tracy from Crytek has also joined the team. This is a good thing given the fact that they are working in CryEngine 3, and having a person with knowledge would probably be a great thing. It might allow them to get around some of the hiccups or bugs that they might not be familiar with, and also have an inside man. Plus, Crytek is pretty awesome regardless, so welcome Dan Tracy. It's awesome to have you on the CIG team, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. We also have some cool footage of Eric Peterson's son, Colton Peterson. Apparently our generation has not played any PC games.
Oh my God!
Seriously, this is kind of disappointing. What is wrong with us? Apparently Dylan Elias, Colton's friend, is also suffering the same thing. Community, my request to you is we start spamming his son and friend with every PC game known to man. We need to educate this generation of all the awesome they are missing out on. So let's start with the original Wing Commander, Privateer, etc. Aside from that, I believe there's further South X by Southwest, and I know I just butchered that, but that can be seen on the Roberts Space Industries website. I would link it, but as mentioned before, YouTube hates my external links. We also got some further whiteboard footage, and the current project is working on a sort and search feature for the website. This will probably be implemented later, along with the updates that I've mentioned previously with my interview with Zane Bien. So any new members that are coming to the site, or any new citizens that we receive, will have a function to find Death of a Spaceman, and all the other awesome articles that are on Star Citizen. That concludes the week on review, so let us move on to forum feedback, or as Eric put it lightly, F-bombs. A wide collection of interesting questions and videos was received by the CIG company. The first being from Ping Tuhi asking, what happens to a P-52 pilot, that's the short-range fighter by the way, that manages to miss their constellation and ends up floating in space? Will you have enough fuel to return to a planet? Are you stranded? Or will this be a long, boring trip with only you and yourself to occupy yourself, and however much oxygen you have left? Wingman responded saying that if you're stuck, you're stuck. This is pretty much a case of shit out of luck. So, in any case, don't miss docking with your constellation, or any other carrier-based ship for that matter. Otherwise, you're gonna have to keep yourself busy. Razor Xerex was the next question. Will the oldest profession in the universe be included into the game? For anyone that doesn't know what this explicitly is, he's talking about prostitution, brothels, casinos, all the dirty things that makes humankind look awesome. Eric clarified that we should look to freelancer and privateer, extrapolate, and guess. This means I'm also going to have to do the same, as I don't remember either one of them. Shazbot. M. Palman was the next question, asking, since Wing Commander always had strong characters, will we be able to look forward to seeing the same? I always found it interesting to walk around and talk to the crew members around in Wing Commander, as it actually felt more immersive. Eric went on to say that this is part of the Star Citizen experience, or rather the Chris Roberts experience. Crew members in Squadron 42 will have fleshed out backstories, and possibly even be included in the persistent universe. This will be interesting for anyone who has done something pretty major in Squadron 42, and all of a sudden you get to meet that individual in the persistent universe. Lowski was the next to ask an important and pretty big question. Will the Kilrathi from Wing Commander be in Star Citizen? There are a lot of copyright issues and other problems, so to speak, that are plaguing the Kilrathi right now, making it unlikely that they would be in Star Citizen. However, Eric does say that a kitty by any other name is still a kitty, is it not? That should be pretty encouraging for anybody that would like to see the Kilrathi, or rather, another version of them, in Star Citizen. The True Lost was the next to ask, will there be a Wingman bobblehead? Wingman, as he was bobbing his own head, said that yes, there is a high probability that we can look forward to your very own Eric Peterson bobblehead, as well as another assortment of cockpit decorations, etc. I'm actually thinking that this might be along the lines of the recently released MechWarrior Online by Piranha Games. If you've played that, they have a lot of similar features ranging from bobbleheads, dancing hula girls, and banners and other assortment of lights and things that you can put in your cockpit. We could probably think along the same lines here, so look forward to more of that. The next question came from Blue Dragon. He asked, and creatively, if someone disconnects, will there be a punishment for this? This could be abused. If you've played any other game, rage quitters, and I have been guilty of this myself, is very discouraging for anybody that's actually trying to play a genuine game. Eric said that disconnects will be tracked, and that in-game there might even be bounties applied to those that do abuse the disconnect or quit to avoid any negative consequences. I don't know if they would implement any ban hammers or anything that would be more fierce, so to speak, for those that are really starting to abuse it and piss people off. We can look forward to more of this down the road. The next question came from Intelligent Perspective, asking if Star Citizen will have comm limitations, such as you need to be in the same system to speak, or you must be this close to talk, like a proximity requirement. According to the Chris Roberts experience, this is a planned implementation that they would like to have. Barring the fact that people will use Skype, Ventrilo, TeamSpeak, and other things to get around it, it will be all the more immersive if it is included. So you won't have like Galaxy Cross comms or anything where you can just talk here and there. You'll have to be relatively close or some other unthought of thing that they have planned. Kavari, if I am saying this right, asked if we will be able to dock ships externally, like capital ships, etc. This hasn't exactly been thought out yet. It's something that would like to be implemented, but given the fact that they haven't thought of it for game balance, or it hasn't really been thought of from what I could gather, is yet to be determined. So I will gladly report on this later when there is more information on external docking. Force asked, can you only have a fixed number of fighters in your Corvette? Or can you get all creative and just shove as many of them as you can? Unfortunately, you cannot play Tetris in your ships. You can't tear out bulkheads and see if you can stuff one in your closet. You won't be able to get Tetris savvy. There will be a fixed limit for carrier ships. This is kind of saddening. I was really looking forward to doing something creative. Maybe have some sort of interpretive art based on how I place my ships. You've really disappointed me today, Wingman. Orkagima is going to shoot me for butchering that. Will NPCs adapt to the actions of the players? Recognizing players, for example, who take down notable people in the universe. This is based on relation to Chris Roberts' Death of a Spaceman, saying that NPCs, or at least the universe, would recognize those people that took out important characters in the universe or did notable actions. This is exactly what is planned. This is what Chris Roberts and the company want to happen. NPCs will recognize you as well as your family, so if you do die along the road, all your endeavors and achievements don't just wash away. This means that I have to be the individual that creates a floating hospital. Must be done. Draws69 asked, will there be secondary monitor support for, custom gaming rigs and pits? Because there's already a few citizens out there who are trying to make some pretty impressive gaming pits and man caves. This is something they would like to support, but there's nothing solid at the moment. It could appear down the road after the game is released as something that'll be added on, but as far as Eric is concerned, nothing is solid at this moment, and it would likely have to be modded in or third-party software. And lastly, a question from our famous... Wait a minute, you're not Legante. Gaz Zombie asked, how will looting and salvaging work? Will we have to tractor beam everything in? Or is ship scavenging a possibility? Will you be able to get out and manually pick up pieces and parts and relics and things of interest? Eric said that most things will involve using a tractor beam. You blow it up, you pull it towards you, you make profit. But there is the possibility of having some derelicts or mysteries that you could explore. I'm hoping this latter is true because it would be fairly interesting to find those things. Given the fact that Star Citizen is supposed to be a ship-based game, nothing ever hurts about actually getting outside of the ship and exploring. That pretty much covers all of our fan-submitted questions, and again, as I have said before, congratulations community. It is always awesome seeing the creative nature of your guys' videos. I really appreciate seeing all the effort that is being put into this, and it just shows further the correlation and cooperation that we are having between the development team and the community. Great job, and keep it coming. In this week's Wide World News, Eric took the time to go visit the guys at the James Webb Telescope. For those of you that don't know, this is the planned replacement, or rather a follow-up, to the Hubble Space Telescope. The plan is to put this thing deeper and farther into space than ever before, and it will be somewhere orbiting around the moon. The only other caveat is that, well, it's not even a caveat. We won't have to worry about anybody having to go up there with a bottle of Windex and clean the thing off. It will be tested prior to deployment, and should be sending awesome pictures of deep space for all of us amateur and professional astronomers to look at. Also, in This Week in Space, which is a new segment in the show, as well as something that is credible and a good idea to do. On March 18th, 1965, Alexei Leonov, the first cosmonaut to perform an EVA, performed such a feat. He was EVA for about 12 minutes, and upon returning to his capsule, actually had to bleed off some of the pressure in his suit due to expansion to be able to get back in. This was a monumental moment in the space race, and Alexei Leonov, after a few scrub missions, and performing as, I believe, an advisor for the cosmonaut program, retired an Air Force general. Unfortunately, as far as I know, we haven't performed any recent spacewalks. Although, if you keep tabs of Chris Hadfield aboard the ISS, he recently just became the commander, and regularly tweets and tapes videos of his endeavors in space. A follow-up to the Wide World News, we find out that Pete Mackey is in fact not dead and is a dark magician. Fans submitted in another package for Eric, and it actually was... I didn't expect this. One of you actually sent in some veggies. Kudos, buddy. Although, at the same time, cheeseburger kind of does sound nice now. Later in the show, however, they went to interview Mark Skeleton. If you would like to check out the entire interview, I suggest you do so over at robertspaceindustries.com and check the com link. However, a few highlights about Mark Skeleton. He is the lead artist extraordinaire, otherwise known as Awesome. He works on stuff, cool stuff, and frankly, from what I can gather, is sort of a boss. Check out the interview with Mark Skeleton, and as I have mentioned before, if you guys would like me to start including some of these interviews into the show for your viewing pleasure, tell me. I have no problem doing such a thing, but for ease of time at the moment, the best thing you can do is go check it out from the source itself. And now we move on to both announcements, some sponsorships, as well as a credible mention to a pretty cool guild. To any of you that have heard of Systems United Navy and recently saw the spotlight of them, you'll notice they sent in a very creative cake. One that was shaped like a hornet, and another one that was shaped like a citizen card. I believe this was made with fondant, and also gave all of the crew diabetes.
Diabetes.
Good job, guys. I hope you're proud of yourself. You're still trying to kill the development team. Stop it. However, if you find Systems United Navy to your liking, go check them out on the forums. They are a multinational private security corporation that wants to focus on exploration as well as combat-oriented guild play. So when they're not making cakes, they also like to kill people. With over 200 pilots from all over the world, with time zones everywhere, you can look forward to baking a cake anytime, anywhere. At least, that's the impression I got from this. You guys really should try to be a little more tough. Like, come on, cakes? In all seriousness, check out Systems United Navy if you're looking for a strong, coordinated guild, or rather corporation, however you want to apply it, to play with and fly with. Systems United Navy. My other spotlight that I would like to give to is rather the exact opposite. If you're looking for pirating, bounty hunting, and maybe a little exploring and trading of rather illicit materials, you can check out the LAMP, Loose Association of Mercenaries and Privateers. No strict hierarchies, no demands for KD, and pretty much no anything. If you want to just go nuts and go loose, there's LAMP. So it's kind of in your hands. Systems United Navy or the LAMP. The power of the LAMP compels you. Check out LAMP, Loose Association of Mercenaries and Privateers, if you're interested in that. I also have now come to a point where I want to make a few announcements. In regarding to the last thing, as I get better at that, it should be a lot more polished and smooth. As of right now, this is something relatively new, and I still haven't exactly figured out how well I want to implement it. I included 2 because I actually found out I had a lot more time than usual. The other announcement I wanted to make is something I recently posted. If any of you saw this post, you're well aware of what I'm talking about. For those who haven't, I've recently had issues where some people have commented very well thought out and thorough comments regarding the quality and consistency of my show. If you notice in this episode, I have tried very hard to avoid uhs, ams, or pauses, as I know that can be very infuriating and rather boring as fuck to listen to. The other issue I wanted to bring up is that he rather pointed out that he didn't like my monotone voice. I know this can be a turnoff, but rather than cave in and try to sound more excited and awesome and jacked up on caffeine or drugs or whatever it is, I'm just gonna do the opposite. You're gonna get more monotone, more boring, and more Dr. Hawk.
Fire!
A few of you already gave good advice, and that advice rang true with me, and that being, be yourself. Why should I change when so many of you already like what you're receiving? I don't see why I have to, and I don't see why I should. However, improvements are always appreciated, however. I've worked hard to make sure that there's no stuttering or anything that might be detracting from the show, and as I get better and better at this, it will only be more awesome. So, all I ask is your patience while I get better with this, the polishing is better, the scripts are better, and I stop going off on tangents relating to the theory of the universe and what exactly an angioplasty is. So, this is Dr. Hawk saying thank you very much for being patient with me, thank you for watching the show, and thank you most of all for making this possible. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. So, without further ado, I plan to move on to the interview segment of the show, and I hope you all enjoy. So, as usual, ladies and gentlemen, I like to do interviews to keep you all entertained and not going insane. My latest interviewee is a man of very interesting characteristics. Some of you should know him from the interview with Sandy Gardner, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Chris Smith.
Hello, my name is Chris Smith. I'm the lead vehicle artist at Cloud Imperium Games and for the project Star Citizen.
Pretty awesome. Thank you for taking the time to be with me and talking to one of the fans and pretty much the community at whole.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure.
So, for those of you that don't know who Chris Smith is, I figure, Chris, you could take the time to walk us through maybe, who you are. I know you've said that, but, what your responsibilities are, what you are in charge of, and generally what you do at CIG. What is a lead vehicle artist?
Yeah, so I'm a lead vehicle artist. Basically, that entails, sort of leading the direction of the quality of the ships, and making sure the ships are gonna come in looking good. Basically, I will model some myself, and then I will be overseeing the outsourcing department and other modelers that are doing the ships overall. So that's pretty much my job in a nutshell.
All right. So what kind of time frame does modeling these ships come out to? Is there a conceptual stage, and then drafting, rough sketching, and then just bam, there's a starship? Or is it a little more complicated or simpler?
Well, it's definitely a little bit more complicated, but that's the basic steps are pretty much right. You start with the concept. In this case, we're working with Brian Church, amongst others, and so they're providing us with either 2D sketches or 3D model, concepts. Basically, they're sort of rough blockouts of interiors and exteriors, and then we go and take it to the next level, pretty much. And the whole process, it definitely takes for just the modeling phase from start to finish, it's roughly a month for a ship. And then, kind of in the concept phase and the different iterations that you go through until the boss likes it, basically. So, it can take anywhere from a month to 2 months for a full-fledged ship, for sure.
Speaking of the boss, I'm assuming that's Chris Roberts. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but does he have any part in some of the development of the ships?
Oh, for sure. He's had close actually involvement with the concepting of the ships. He gets the ship designs. He gets to look at them and put in his comments and everything, of course. And in fact, a lot of the ship designs when I came on board were already sort of fleshed out. So we came in. They had some of the ship designs and the ship docks already ready made by the time I got on board. So basically, I'm here to kind of make sure that those ships end up looking really good once again in the game.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of the community is looking forward to it. In fact, last I checked, everyone's screaming for the Aurora to be revealed. If it already hasn't, I'll have to check the news later.
Yeah, not quite, but yeah, it's getting there. It will be done very soon.
Well, there you go. Hopefully the community can take it as said. It's getting there. So one of the other things I'm curious about when Sandy did the interview with you, some of your previous work is actually fairly interesting. Duke Nukem Forever, Starhawk, PlanetSide 2. Each of those games, while being very different in each aspect, has space elements. Each of them. Duke Nukem had alien invaders. Starhawk is pretty self-explanatory, and PlanetSide 2 is sort of a hybrid if you think about it. Do you think that any of the previous work would influence the Star Citizen now?
Maybe if anything, I would say you might get a little bit. For the ships I modeled, for sure, I kind of infuse my own style into some things and my own little quirks and nuances that I do for just my general modeling, which is what I've done with actually with Starhawk. Starhawk was a game that they kind of let me go crazy on. We started with concepts, but I pretty much changed those vehicles around, and they ended up being about 80% my design. A lot of those things. So, and with Duke Nukem, well, yeah, it was definitely sci-fi. It was a bit more earthbound, but it was definitely that one was a bit more. Okay, here's the concept, and make it look just like that. So this in this game, it's a bit more like that as well, where I get a concept, and then I'm basically going to do it like the concept is, because the concept's been agreed on by Chris Roberts and everybody, and so I pretty much have to make it look like that. But there's of course since I like mechanical stuff, so I infuse a bit of my own mechanical believability and plausibility into certain things, and actually draw a lot from real world inspirations as far as that's concerned. I look at a lot of mechanical things, all kinds of ship designs, jets and all kinds of things that I draw real world inspiration from. So it makes it more believable for the player.
I'm pretty sure that'll be much appreciated. Well, science fiction is something that is fun to jump into. There's periods where the believability is stretched. I'm going to use Mass Effect as an example, as much as I love it. The transforming guns, and as a gun nut myself, I love them. But then in your mind you're thinking, whoa, what? You fit what into how?
Yeah. It gets a little like as soon as it gets in, like the plausibility starts to fizzle a little bit. There's always that amount of disbelief you're willing to grant. Any kind of science fiction thing. But yeah, if it gets too far, I'm always kind of turned off by that as well. So I definitely always try to infuse a lot of real world plausibility into my machines and things like that.
Awesome. So, your interest in Star Citizen, how exactly did you get involved with Star Citizen? Did you reach out to Chris and CIG, or did they just see you and go, hey, you're having a job, get over here and work?
Yeah, well, it started off with the layoff, the unfortunate layoff of Lightbox
True.
that we experienced. And, I was looking for a job, and I got and previously, actually, about a half year before that, I saw the Star Citizen video. And we had just come from finishing Starhawk, and we were starting on a new project, which actually was sort of a space game as well. And then we saw that, and I remember thinking like, "Wow, that looks freaking cool." I was very impressed by the video and everything. I was pretty blown away by it. So that definitely stuck in my mind. I mean, I really, to be honest, had not known about Chris Roberts. Back in those days when Wing Commander came out, I was mostly into Sega, I guess, the Genesis. I wasn't really playing much PC games. Although Wing Commander does, I mean, I have heard of it, but never played it. So anyhow, saw the video, was pretty impressed by it, and then we got the layoff, and then, I'm looking for jobs, I'm doing some freelance work, and then I got a call from Eric Peterson. And that was, in October, I think. And then, after that call, we had like a little chat, and then a month later, they called me back, and things started getting rolling. And as soon as he called me, I didn't know who Eric Peterson was, so I had to go look it up, and I found Cloud Imperium, and I found out it was linked to Star Citizen, and then I got really excited. So I was like, oh wow, this is cool, this is for this game.
That probably got the blood flowing.
I'm sorry?
I said, I'm sorry, I said that probably got the blood flowing, especially with that situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and again, like the vehicle modeling, the spaceship modeling was kind of right down my alley in a way, so. I was definitely, I would, I was like, yeah, I would like to work for that game. Yeah, I would like to work on that game basically. So, things got rolling and it happened. So I was definitely excited about that. It
Yeah,
came together perfectly in a way.
and now you probably are happy that you're working with the grade A team, so to speak. You know, you got a lot of interesting individuals. Eric is very interesting and
Yeah, for sure.
charismatic with his usual charm, and Ryan
Uh-huh.
Church, and you got your comrades in arms, Chris Roberts. So
Yeah,
it's probably a very happy group to be
And
working
Mark
with.
Skelton. Let's
Mark
not
Scout.
forget.
Yeah, I had to mention him too.
That
Apologize.
guy. Did you see his last interview?
I think I did. I'm probably going to be pulling that into the episode, but that's for earlier for people who've watched the show already.
Right, right.
So another mention that I want to, sorry, mention a question. What do they got you working on right now? You know, within limits. We don't want to get you in trouble or have any curb stompings or anything, but you know, you're in charge of the ships in general. But I'm assuming it would be the Aurora and other things that are being worked on, or am I completely out to lunch right now?
No, no. So yeah, Aurora is definitely being worked on right now for sure. It's got to get done very soon. So that's in the hot stages of production right now. And I'm personally working on the 300i, and that's in the hot stages of production as well because we got to get these guys out. So yeah, those two are definitely very close at this point.
I'm actually looking forward to that 300i. I believe that's my pledge ship, so
Oh,
I'm
nice.
excited to see that thing. As soon as I heard it's supposed to look like an F-35, I'm like, I can get behind that.
Yeah, yeah. I think you'll dig it. I think you will. It's a cool. It's gonna be a slick ship for sure.
Okay, well, I'll have to look forward to painting it with hawk wings and everything. Have to make it fit the Dr. Hawk persona or something.
Nice. Yeah.
So, what can the fans look forward to in terms of the ships themselves? Like, what kind of fidelity and specifications are we going to be able to look at, or is it still too early in development to be able to tell? Because a space game can be made to look pretty very easily, or very with difficulty depending on your approach. But you're working with CryEngine 3, so
Yeah.
what
Well,
can we expect?
well, for the fans, I mean, as far as like flexibility with the and animations, you mean? Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be having a lot of. I mean, a lot of the mechanical stuff. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of things moving, and like the little directional jets and things, and inside the cockpit it's going to be insane because there's going to be a lot of interaction with inside the first person area of the cockpit. So there's definitely going to be high fidelity as far as moving bits and just real world mechanics, things that you would see on a spaceship or you expect to see moving and things, um, as far as for the fan itself, any customization, there'll definitely be some hard points on ships for switching out and customization for upgrading, weapons and boosters and the like. So yeah, there'll be some fun for the fans. Once they get a hold of the ship, that won't be the end of it.
No, that's good to hear because that seems to be the current worry so far is, you know, how much customization can we do? And I keep
Yeah.
thinking I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do get a lot given that Eric himself said the ships are your avatars.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There will definitely be. As far as the look of everything, can't really comment on much of that right now, but definitely, yeah, expect hard points and upgrades and stuff like that. For sure.
Awesome. I think this next question ties into ship expectations in general. Is there any word on the shipbuilder, or at least a standardization for the fans, like even myself, I do some 3D art, on what to expect when making their own ships? Because I do remember it was mentioned that there will be sort of a rubric written out for the fans, so you know we don't just have ship designs left, right, and center that don't actually adhere to any sort of
Right.
formula. Can we expect any sort of formula, or we still have to wait while you guys figure out what to
include, what not to include, etc. Because there have been some amazing fan artworks and
Yeah.
even renders of ships already, but in my back mind I think, oh god, what if it's missing this one thing and they have to tear it apart because it doesn't adhere to the rubric.
Yeah, I saw some of those. Yeah, those designs, and some of them definitely look very good. At this point, for sure, we have to see. There's definitely going to be some standards. That has to be taken into consideration. But yeah, if any of those ship designs, if Chris Roberts is cool with them and any of that, I don't know. I can't really comment too much on those things yet, but all I know is like those ship designs look great, and if anything like that would be implemented, definitely there would be some limitations on certain things. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm aware of limitations. I was more interested in when we have a general, okay, fans, here is a list. You need this many polygons, or this general shape, or this sort of design.
That's a little bit too early to tell at this moment.
Fair enough. So in the meantime, though, with all these awesome ships, for any of the fans that are making them, do you just say keep on trucking, keep on on going?
Just keep on doing what you think is cool, man. I mean, and then we'll go from there.
Well, there you guys go. You had Chris Smith, the 3D vehicle artist, tell you himself, go for it. And plus, you can always tear apart a high poly object and dress it up later.
Yeah, I mean, once we get to a certain point, if just like any concept art, pretty much, there's several iterations sometimes, you go through. So if, somebody really wants to work in, if there's some changes, they can make some tweaks to their design, and it might be perfect at that point,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I have two questions here from the community. They were sort of last minute, but Clow and Jukarn, he's probably going to stab me for butchering his name, have a question each for you. The first one sort of ties into what I asked earlier, but she is curious as to how far the CryEngine 3 engine is going to be pushed. And it wasn't really refined, but I'm thinking she means in terms of fidelity, like I asked previously.
Yeah, I mean, we'll push it a lot. I don't know. I'm not the most technical artist or qualified to answer that, but we're definitely going to be pushing the limits as far as polys and textures, because we definitely want, like you said, high fidelity in the game. The visuals are going to be very important, and so we're definitely going to be going to the limits, as much as we can,
So I'm pretty sure that my laptop would explode if I tried to play Star Citizen in its current state.
In its current, yeah, possibly. I mean,
Great.
No, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, put it on the lowest setting and go from there.
I got a computer rig plan, so I guess I gotta start saving those pennies.
Right.
And then Jukarn, he wants to know how much will you be able to customize the look of your ship. Again, another tie-in, but
Yeah.
I think this is more something that just can't be answered given what you've said to me already.
Yeah, a little bit too early, but in the phase, but definitely expect upgrades and for the hard points on the ships, like boosters, weapons for sure.
Okay, so
engines, cargo capacities, all kinds of little different stuff that you'll be able to buy or upgrade, through challenges, I'm sure, or something like that. So.
Fair enough. So sorry guys, but you'll have to adopt the wait and see approach.
Yes.
My other questions I had for you were related more to you yourself. When the game comes out, I'm pretty sure even the developers are going to be playing. And, why not? It's a game you worked on and you bled and shed and worked your ass off for it. What would you as a player hope to see in Star Citizen, though, if you were suddenly at the helm developing Star Citizen? If you could just say, okay, well, I'm putting what I want in, what would Chris Smith put in the game?
I would definitely, I mean, we're gonna have this vast, space area that we're gonna have all these different constellations and stuff. I would definitely like to see a nice broad planet side experience as well, coupled with the space, to make it that much more realistic. And yeah, I think that would sound cool. Like if you know, that would sort of like something I would be like totally for or behind. You know, to have a big expanding, you know, a universe that includes planet-side stuff. You know.
So you mean like ground engagements?
Yeah, some ground engagement or anything on the ground. You know, like you have aerial combat on the planet. You know, you have ground combat there, and then you go. I mean, literally, like you're playing Battlestar Galactica. You know, it's just like everything goes. You know, the big ships. You live in the big capital ships at one point, and then at some other point, maybe for a while, you're on the planet. You know, and you're hanging out there and doing missions and whatnot. So.
Hey, the sky and technology is the limit, so all in due time, right?
Yeah,
And
those are grand wishes.
I think my last question for you is, again, related to you privately. What would you do in Star Citizen? What is Chris going to do when the game ships? Can we expect you to be helping out people, you know, being a good Samaritan and explorer? Or are you just going to be going along with Hilera and all our piratey friends in chat roll and just having fun and drinking rum?
Yeah. First thing I'm gonna get is a sword, right? A laser sword.
Okay.
And be Han Solo. No, I mean, I would probably, you know, I don't know, you know, it's hard to tell. I would probably go through and become, you know, a Star Citizen, you know, go from there, you know, just like learn everything and kind of go and explore things, and then, you know, who knows, you know, what happens.
So you're just going to sort of
Maybe I'll turn, you know, defect the army and then become a pirate as well.
Oh, jeez. You're not the first dev to say they want to be a pirate.
Once I become a badass, you know, you have to become good first, I think, before you become a successful pirate or anything, right? Or anything. But I don't know, hard to tell. I might just, you know, become like a good stand-up citizen and help out people. Who knows?
Well, I'm looking forward to see what you and the other devs do when the game does finally come out.
Yeah, maybe I'll just be a bar owner.
That works.
It's fine to me too.
Everybody's looking forward to the in-game bar, and I'm pretty sure I know a few citizens who are going to be loitering there.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, I'll have my hands full then.
You'll have your regulars.
Right. Exactly.
Well,
I'll have a table for them.
Well, Chris, I'd like to actually again thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to me, you know, speak to the fans. I've been told that people appreciate these more visceral and cerebral conversations that I do. Originally, I'd always wanted to do a short ADHD format, but the show is sort of evolving to a point where I'm doing these. We've been talking for 26 minutes, so these nice long interviews. So again, It's appreciated that you took the time out of your day to go so far as just to speak to a fan like me. It shows that this development team that you're a part of, and this game in general, is doing something that I have not seen any other development team do. And I'm looking forward to the day when Star Citizen ships, and you, Chris, Eric, Ryan, all of you, go down in the record books for best development team ever.
Oh,
and that's not ass-kissing, that is a genuine statement.
I appreciate that, man. And, you know, this is a lot different. I mean, compared to other companies, you know, where everything is very hush-hush and you can't really talk about anything development-wise. This is a total 180 for me, 360 for me. And, you know,
I think
180. You know, it's definitely a whole different direction than the fan interaction. It's very interesting. It's actually been pretty pleasant so far. So, yeah, I'm appreciating it. It's cool, you know, and us keeping in touch with you guys constantly. And, you know, there's not really, you know, any secrets. We're just kind of like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And, you know, I dig it.
Well, even look at all the goodies you guys get. Booze, snacks, sugar. Like, I keep getting worried that there's going to be a day where it's just like in the news, Star Citizen dev team dead, alcohol poisoning. And I'll be like, fuck, no more Star Citizen guys. We killed them. Pardon?
We all drank ourselves to death. Yeah, South by Southwest didn't help either.
I bet. So again, again thank you. If there's any closing questions or comments that you even have for me, go ahead. Or if you just want to do a shout out to the community,
No,
now's
I
the
mean,
time.
yeah, like I said, thanks for all you guys, the fans and everything. Like I said, this has been a very different experience, but very cool so far. Just keeping in touch with you guys every week and stuff, and yeah, I'm very appreciative of all of you. Thank you.
Well, you heard it yourself, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd like to close off with this interview, and one last time, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Chris Smith, lead vehicle artist, and I
Thank
am
you.
Dr. Pardon?
I said thank you.
And thank you. I'm Dr. Hawk, wishing you guys all safe travels and safe flights. You guys take care and fly safe.
Also, one final note. Just recently I took part of a roundtable discussion with internetspaceships.net. I suggest you go check this out, as we had a pretty zany discussion, and I look forward to further discussion with them. That's internetspaceships.net. As mentioned before, you guys all take care and fly safe.